I wanted to make a little bit of a longer video to explain some of these real estate terms and numbers that I think of at the top of my head when it comes to buying a property. Obviously, I mentioned them in the short 1-minute video, but this one will go a little bit more in depth. The first thing I can think of that you need to understand is when you put a house under contract, the way you validate that contract is through something called earnest money. It's a percentage that you put down that you're kind of letting the sellers know that you're serious. You're the buyer, they're the sellers. So the buyer is expected to put down some earnest money to let the sellers know they're serious about buying the house. This is usually 1 to 1.5% of the purchase price. So for example, if you're buying a $500,000 home, it would be pretty normal to put down anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 in earnest money. Earnest money is usually refundable if you decide to back out, as long as you back out before your due diligence deadlines. Those are extended and put in place by you and your agent. So if your agent says we have to do this, you don't have to do anything. Remember, the agent works for you, you don't work for them. They are the experts, so you should probably listen to their advice, but if you're not comfortable, you don't have to do it. So you buy a house, it's $500,000, you put earnest money down of, let's say, $5,000, right, which would be 1%. The thought is, if your due diligence deadline comes up and you decide you still want to buy the house, that earnest money will go hard. But anytime before your due diligence, you can back out of the deal and take that $5,000 back. So let's say you bought a house, you put it under contract July 1st, and you said, I want 15 days of due diligence where I can think about this, get an inspection, look around, get an appraisal before I really fully commit to buying this house. So you have the 15 days. If you cancel anytime before that 15 days is up, they'll give you the $5,000 back. If 15 days goes by, you're still committed, you're still under contract, and then you cancel a day before you're supposed to sign, they're gonna keep your $5,000 and not give it back to you. So you need to understand when you're buying a piece of real estate, how much earnest money you're putting down and how you get that back and what your timelines are. A due diligence period is a time that you're supposed to make your decision. Things that you're gonna do during due diligence are usually an inspection first, to make sure the home's in good condition or the property doesn't have any issues. And if it does have issues, you wanna know what those are. So I would always advise to get an inspection. As long as you have an inspection and it looks good and there's no issues, you're gonna wanna move forward and order an appraisal. Without an appraisal, you can't get traditional bank financing. The bank is not gonna finance any property that they don't know what it's really worth. And so they wanna make sure that's worth what you're paying. So first you're gonna get an inspection and then an appraisal. If both those things check out, you're probably good to buy the house. But if one of those things comes back different than you expected, you want to be able to pull out and not buy that property. And you don't want to lose that earnest money. Sometimes if you're trying to be really aggressive with your offer and you're trying to make sure they accept it, you'll do hard earnest money. So you'll tell the sellers, hey, the minute we go under contract, I'm gonna give you $10,000. That's hard earnest money. If we back out, it's yours, you keep it. But in this market today, you don't need to do that and you shouldn't do that, because unless you're very, very confident on the appraisal amount and on the inspection, if you know those things already, then okay. But if you don't, you should never put hard earnest money down. Back in 2020, when houses were flying off the shelves, that's when you would put hard earnest money down more often. Another term I want to tell you guys about, real estate commissions. Whenever you buy a home or sell a home, and you use real estate agents, you're gonna pay them a commission. In the past, the standard commission was 3% for each side. So 6% of your purchase price would go to pay your agents. In this day and age, that's negotiable. You don't have to pay 3%. So if they tell you that you do, they're wrong. You can pay your agents whatever you want. It could be 1%, 2%, 2.5%, 3%. It could be more, but the standard is usually 3%. And so when it comes to selling your house or buying a house, if you want to pay a little bit less in fees, you can. You just need to negotiate that with your real estate agent. Another thing I want to tell you guys about is seller paid closing costs. There are certain costs that you accrue when you buy a home, that the lender charges you or that the title company charges you. There's just different fees, right, associated with buying a home. You can actually have the seller pay for those fees, so you have to put less money down and wrap it all into your loan. Make sure you ask your agent about seller paid concessions and closing costs. Another thing I wanted to bring up with you guys is a buyer broker agreement. When you go to sell your house or buy a house, sometimes real estate agents will ask you to sign a buyer broker agreement, which states that you will use them and solely them, exclusively them to be your agent and represent you, make sure that if you sign that, you know what you're signing. It's usually going to outline how much they make and the timeline that they have you under contract. So make sure you read that and understand that. That way, if you want to pivot and use a different agent, you're not locked in. There's so many things I could teach you guys and tell you guys about when it comes to buying a home. Make sure to do your homework, do your own research, find a great agent. Remember, your agent works for you, you don't work for them. But here's just a few things on top of my mind to get you guys heading in the right direction. Good luck out there, and let me know if you have any questions. If you found this video helpful, give me a like and subscribe, and I'll make more videos like this. I'm new at this, I don't love doing it, but I really want to give back and help the community. So please like my content and subscribe for more content.